Folks, it's me, Denny Carter from Rotoworld and NBC Sports, coming at you for Week 18 fantasy football Q&A. Look, this one's going to be different because per my metrics, per my spreadsheets, 99% of you, perhaps more, are done with redraft seasonal fantasy football for 2024. And that means that you have no use for me anymore. But I'm still here for you. And maybe, maybe this is, now that I'm thinking about, doing this stream on week 18, maybe this is my way of apologizing for missing week 17. I missed fantasy championship week, did this stream all season. And my family planned a last-minute trip to Canada for skiing. I tried to ski. I got a lesson. Not good. Thought about quitting a couple times, but I persevered, got through it, and now I'm great. But anyway, I was in Canada last Friday, so couldn't do the stream. I was sorry to miss it. And actually, Patrick Mell, a regular in the chat, says immediately, the first comment here is, Denny, you abandoned us in week 17 and when we needed you most. Kidding, he says. I appreciate all the advice all season long, even if my robe did not make an appearance. I have never worn a robe. I want to be clear about that. I do not own a robe. That's not a bit. It's not a bit. I don't own a robe. What would I need a robe for? What am I, Tony Soprano, walking down the driveway to get my newspaper? To get what does he get? He gets the Newark Star Ledger or something like that. What do I don't need a robe. In the morning, I wear sweatpants and a t-shirt. And if it's cold, I put on a hoodie. Okay? Maybe that's a millennial thing. I don't know. Maybe robes are a Zoomer thing. Or do Zoomer? I know one thing about Zoomers, and I only know one thing. And I noticed this on our road trip to Canada. We drove through New York and then through Vermont. Very sorry to the people of Vermont for never having seen the sun, by the way. We were listening to an artist named Noah Kahan on the way through Vermont, and he's from Vermont. He has an album called Stick Season, I believe. My wife is very into it. It's a good album. I appreciate it. It's not my thing, but I get it. Noah Kahan, it's mostly about Noah Kahan suffering in his life because he never saw the sun growing up in Vermont. I don't know if I could live there. It's a nice, very quaint, towns that we were driving through. I would, I'd be into it for a vacation. I don't know about living there. Noah Kahan makes it sound very bad. If I were the Vermont Board of Tourism, if that's a thing that exists, I'd look powerfully into censoring Noah Kahan. His whole thing is that, man, Vermont's depressing, very depressing, drives you to do a lot of things that I regret. It's not appealing. Not appealing. Sounds very bad. I'm sorry. The state of Vermont probably not happy that one of its most prominent residents, Noah Kahan, is out there talking trash about the state. Anyway, what was I saying? I forget. Skiing, driving. Gosh darn it. I totally messed up here. I lost my train of thought. Oh, well, we're going to get into some week 18 sicko plays. We're going to talk about contract incentives because, look, there's still action to be had. This is the thing that they won't tell you. And by they, I actually don't know who I'm talking about. But someone won't tell you that there's still action to be had. In DFS or whatever, putting together lineups, trying to figure it all out. One last chance at glory, one last chance to turn $10 into $20. And then you're set. And it's no problem from there. So we're going to get into that. Of course, if you're playing in your Week 18 championship, give me any and all questions you have, because I'm all in on helping you navigate the difficulties and the weirdness of Week 18 fantasy football. I know in my experience, and I've been doing this for a dozen years now. In my experience, people who have Week 18 championships, their league is commissioned by a person who has no experience with fantasy football. And so they created the league back in August or September or whatever, and didn't go in and make sure that the championship was Week 17 when teams still have something to play for instead of Week 18. So if you are in one of those unfortunate leagues, I'm here for you. If you know someone in those leagues, text them. Text them now. I know no one calls anybody anymore, but just text them and say, hey, the Denny guy from NBC, he's doing a live stream about Week 18. Very weird, but I know you have questions, so hit him up. Oh, I know what I was going to say. On my way to Canada, I noticed one thing about Zoomers. They don't wear jeans. No one's wearing jeans anymore. Is this right? Because I actually asked a Zoomer relative recently, why don't you wear jeans? He said, no, nobody wears jeans. Only dads wear jeans. I said, dang, really? Like, even like nice jeans? He said, yeah, no wearing jeans. I said, what do you wear? What do you wear if you're not, you wear khaki pants? They pleated? Your dress pants? No, the answer is sweatpants. The Zoomers only wear sweatpants. I hate that. What? Grow up. Put on a real pair of pants. I know. I understand how old I sound. I get it. I get that I'm alienating everybody under 30 years old right now. But I'm very serious when I say you got to stop. You got to stop with the sweatpants. Put on some actual real pants. Be an adult. All right. Check out the... yes, right. We have a comment here from Elia. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. The kids are cooked. Many are saying this. Alex has a question that's actually related to the Rotoworld football show on Tuesday, which I missed. During the show, Kyle Dvorak's smoke alarm was going off. Apparently, after winning a significant sum of money in best ball, Kyle could not afford to replace the battery in his smoke alarm. We're looking into. We're actually gathering a fund to send him a little cash to buy a new battery, since he only won. Well, I'm not going to tell you exactly what it was. It was a lot. He won more than a little in best ball this year. Alex says, what's the longest you've gone without replacing the battery in a smoke detector? Well, I do you mean while it's beeping? Because I will replace, when it's beeping, I will replace the battery within 10 seconds. You've never seen a human move faster than I do. When I can't deal. I cannot abide by that sound. No way. Okay, I'm hustling to it. I remember when I was a kid once, the smoke alarm, the smoke detector was outside my bedroom, and it started beeping in the middle of the night, and I thought I could ignore it. I remember like putting my pillow over my head and like, okay, I can ignore this. It's no problem. And I couldn't get back to sleep. It was like hours, right? Like totally ruined my sleep. And so I decided to get up. I don't know. I was like 12, 13 years old. I got something to stand on, some sort of basket or something to stand on, and tried to figure it out myself. Made so much noise that my parents came out. They were not happy. It was a whole thing. So maybe I have a little smoke alarm trauma. Is what is what I'm saying. Anyway, check out the Rotoworld football show from Thursday. Me, Pat Doherty, Kyle Dvorak talked a lot about all the games. We focused on the ones that mean something: Lions, Vikings. The Broncos game, Broncos having to win, Dolphins having to win. I'm trying to think of some others that actually mean something, but can't think of them right now. Oh, Falcons against the Panthers. And my funnel defense report, where I go through, I believe, 4 games this week to talk about funnel defense matchups. I'm going to start with the Seahawks, who are taking on, let me just update something here to make sure I have the most recent information about spreads and implied totals and whatnot. Looking strongly. And yes, we have the Seahawks are taking on the Rams. They are 6.5 point favorites because the Rams are likely going to be benching a lot of their starters, if not all of them. The Seahawks have an implied total of 22.75 points. And I'm sorry, I was distracted here. Yes, and Geno Smith has millions of dollars of incentives, $6 million of incentives on the line here against the Rams. I'm sorry. Okay. And so he has to complete a certain number of passes. His completion rate has to stay above 69.7%. He needs, I think, 185 more yards. Anyway, if Geno Smith has a good game here, he's going to make a lot more money on his 2024 deal. And, and that means something to a guy who might not start, going forward. So it is important for him. I think if he has a good game, obviously he's going to bring along DK Metcalf and Jackson Smith and Jigba. Those are the two guys most likely to have a good game, have a big game if Geno has a big game. So just remember that. I don't really know who you would use in a lineup if you're making a DFS lineup to run it back with the Seahawks, with a Seahawks double stack. I'm thinking maybe like Tutu Atwell or something, but can Jimmy Garoppolo get him there? I don't know. So that's going to be definitely going to be a tough one. One of the Saturday games I wanted to address, the Browns and Ravens. Of course, the Ravens are favored by a lot. I'm trying to find here. They're favored by 24.5 points because Bailey Zappi is now starting for Cleveland. So we're looking actually at a possibility of both Derrick Henry and Keaton Mitchell getting there for Baltimore. There should be enough good game script, to create, 40 plus rushing attempts for Baltimore. Now, the one risk here with Keaton Mitchell is that Derrick Henry is like 230 yards away from claiming the rushing title, taking it away from Saquon Barkley in the final week of the season. So we're a little worried. I'm a little worried that if he has a big first half, at first quarter, whatever, that the Ravens will just keep feeding him and let him get that rushing title. Now, at the risk of injury, I don't know. And he's such an important part of that offense. Not exactly sure they would do that, but it's definitely in the range of outcomes. If not, though, Keaton Mitchell, who saw 11 rushes last week against Houston, spent most of the season on IR, explosive back. I think that he could be in line for another 11, 12, 13 touches in this game. Could be something. Jordan Akins, he's running a good route rate so far as the primary pass catching tight end for the Browns with David Njoku out. He could easily see double-digit targets here. I know that sounds sick, but it's absolutely the case. Okay, Bailey Zappi could drop back like 50 times here. Now, you're not playing Bailey Zappi, but that should create targets, for Jerry Jeudy, who I believe saw 18 targets last week. I know it wasn't Zappi, but whatever. And then of course, Akins. I'm not sure. I wouldn't mess around with Elijah Moore or anything like that. As for the other Saturday game, the Bengals, Steelers, Mike Gesicki has a contract incentive, $200,000 or $250,000 if he catches 3 more passes. I can almost guarantee you that that's going to happen here. I expect a very pass-heavy game script for the Bengals as always, and I think Joe Burrow will get Gesicki those 3 catches, and he'll get that contract. So if you're making Saturday lineups, I think you throw Gesicki in there. I think you throw Akins in there. Get crazy with two tight ends if you're playing in tournaments. Excuse me, I just spit. And I would in Burrow. He's having like an all-time season, so I would guess that they're just going to keep letting him rip, right? And that puts Higgins in play, and obviously Chase. For not just in play, but in play for huge outings against Pittsburgh, who's, by the way, Pittsburgh secondary, very suspect of late. So keep that in mind. You can triple stack, I guess, Joe Burrow, and you can run it back with, well, of course, Pickens, but Pat Freiermuth. The Bengals have been very bad, I think, giving up the 3rd most tight end receptions on the season. Lots of middle of the field stuff against the Bengals. That's where Freiermuth operates. So if the Steelers are forced to drop back a lot, Freiermuth could be a nice little cheat code. We have JM joining the chat, and he asks, is it Tipton season? And I can tell you for certain that it is not Tipton season. Mason Tipton, of course, seemed like the only, or like the wide receiver 1 for the Saints for a while. It didn't work out in that he couldn't even draw a target. So that's not happening. Chris Olave, I guess, has a chance to play, but I don't see that happening. Juwan Johnson is probably the only game in town, as the Zoomers would say, for the Saints. Tim is in the chat. Tim says, Need your opinion. Final game of my survival pool: Denver, Green Bay, Indianapolis, or Arizona. Man, those are some good options, man. I mean, you'd have to think the Broncos. I think the Chiefs are going to rest everybody, including defensive starters. So I'd have to go with the Broncos. I mean, the Packers are kind of a lock too. I mean, the Cardinals are a great play too. The Cardinals will be playing nobody against the Niners. I mean, they will be playing against nobody. The Niners not going to play any. So but I would lean Denver. Wanted to mention Dawson Knox, who is 8 catches and 89 yards away from a big bonus, a big contract incentive bonus. If he's active this week, then I think you're playing him. I mean, you're at least considering it. Dalton Kincaid, I'm guessing, won't be active. So Dawson Knox will be out there just, hopefully for his sake, for his bank account's sake, gobbling up targets from Mitchell Trubisky, and hopefully getting all the way there to claim his incentive. I'm sorry, I was looking at a question here, but never mind. All right. Some other incentives, Alexander Madison. We talked about this on the Rotoworld football show on Thursday. He needs 8 catches to receive a $125,000 contract bonus, right? He's already claimed a $125,000 bonus based on receptions, but he can push it even further here. And here's the thing. So you say, well, that can't happen because Amir Abdullah is still a thing in the Vegas backfield. Well, he's hurt. He has a foot issue. He did not practice on Thursday. Keep it locked to Rotoworld. Check Rotoworld 15, 18, 20 times a day to make sure that, he's not going to play. I would guess that he's not going to play. I think that makes Madison sort of interesting for those 8 receptions, which I know sounds sick. Like RotoPat on Thursday was saying that it sounds like a mob deal, right? Like the Raiders are being told like pepper Madison with targets, but the game is meaningless for the Raiders. And Madison's been a team guy. The Raiders have been passing quite a bit lately, actually. So I think it's certainly in play. Carson Wentz, weirdly, very in play, very interesting from a DFS perspective. Last year, he was like the key to DFS in Week 18. Had 17 carries for 56 yards and a touchdown. I don't know how you only have 56 yards and 17 carries, but I guess that's how it goes. He had 3 total touchdowns in that game. He was playing for the Rams against the Niners. The Broncos play the 4th highest rate of man coverage in the league. Usually that's good for a quarterback who wants to leave the pocket and rush, right? So we look for matchups with rushing quarterbacks. We look for matchups against defenses that play a lot of man coverage. That's what we have here with Wentz. Now, are you going to call him a rushing quarterback? I guess. I don't. I'm a little hesitant to say, oh yeah, definitely a mobile quarterback, Carson Wentz. But he seems to like to run. 17, like I said, 17 rushes last week, 18. So certainly in play there. Josh Dobbs, another quarterback option who, almost guaranteed double-digit rushing attempts for Josh Dobbs this week as the Niners starter against Arizona. Terrible passer. By the way, great commercials that Josh Dobbs participates in. I don't know if you've seen, I think, progressive commercials where backup quarterbacks step in to do household chores, right? Like doing taxes, painting, getting rid of insects. I can't remember parking, difficult parking jobs, whatever. Those commercials are fantastic. And Josh Dobbs is in one of them, and they make me laugh every time. I try not to laugh, but the dad in me has no choice. Folks, I wanted to tell you just real quick, something came up for me. So I am going to end this stream at the 30-minute mark. And I need to attend to something rather urgently. So at the 30-minute mark, we're gonna cut the stream, and I hopefully will be able to come back next week and do a stream for those interested in postseason DFS and other contests like that. Lions Vikings is obviously the game of the week. It's going to be on NBC Sunday Night Football. You're playing everybody in that game. The Lions are the second most pronounced pass funnel in the league. Teams are still really not running very much, or very well, I should say, against Detroit. So I expect a lot of dropbacks for Sam Darnold. I expect a lot of production through the air for the Vikings. And, that's obviously great for Jefferson, great for Addison. It could be great for Jalen Naylor. Naylor had 2 touchdowns last week. He ran a route on 65% of the team's dropbacks, which is okay. Not great, but okay. And he was targeted on 17% of his routes, which was much higher than his season-long rate of 10%. So, maybe he has an increasing role in this offense. If ever there is a matchup to exploit with a distant third receiver in a good offense, it would be, I guess it would be this one with Naylor. In theory, TJ Hawkinson should be able to benefit in a matchup against a pass funnel like Detroit, but he's really, whether it's the knee or whether it's just Jordan Addison emerging as a viable number two behind Justin Jefferson, whatever it is, Hawkinson is not commanding targets the way he has in previous seasons, including last year, when he was just a target hog. I mean, he's still, he's out there running a lot of routes, getting the same playing time. But he's not seeing the same sort of action. Of course, in daily fantasy, you get weird sometimes, and you throw in a guy who everybody else is sick of. I can't deal with Hawkinson anymore. The guy hasn't done anything, so blood in the water, all that. Okay. Maybe you go with Hawkinson, get unique. This is a nice comment from D Sparks. Says muscle memory has brought me here today. Thanks for all the Fridays. I appreciate it. Yes, thank you so much for saying so, and thank you all, for tuning in throughout the season. I've really enjoyed having the platform, being able to joke and talk like normal humans, but also to offer advice to help you through your fantasy seasons. I hope that this stream was helpful to you. I wanted to do a Friday stream mostly because by Friday we have so much more information about injuries, about coaches' intentions, about implied totals and favorites and underdogs and whatever. We have so much more information on Friday than we do on, say, like a Tuesday or a Wednesday, right? When a lot of fantasy stuff is made, a lot of content analysis is made on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right? Especially Monday and Tuesday. Well, there are so many open questions early in the week that we don't have answers to until Friday, even Saturday, even Sunday morning. This is when we start getting the actual answers to our pressing questions. But Friday's a good day, I think, to do this sort of thing. And it was my pleasure to be here with you all throughout the season. And we had fun. And you know what we never did? We never got cute. Okay? Through everything, we never got cute, not once. And I appreciate you all doing that bit with me, because that's fun, right? It's fun to have a bit. So thank you all. I am going to check out a little early here. Again, if you missed it, I had a pressing issue come up. I need to go address that. I hope to be back with you soon. And until then, good luck to you and only you in Week 18.